What if the biggest difference between living a life by default and living a life by design boils down to just one fundamental shift? A shift from feeling like a pawn, moved around on a chessboard, to becoming the player yourself. I'm Tejas Rain, and I've felt both sides of that coin. I've experienced the frustration of feeling stuck, and the incredible exhilaration of taking control and creating something from nothing. And through that journey, I've come to understand the immense transformative power of agency. Agency is your ability to choose, to decide, and to act, deliberately shaping your path rather than just reacting to whatever comes your way. It's about recognizing that you have far more influence over your life than you might currently believe. It's the engine behind building a life of true freedom and purpose, a concept central to the philosophy of people like Naval Ravikant. In the next 15 minutes, we're going to unpack why agency is your ultimate superpower, how life feels when you're not using it, and critically, the practical steps you can start taking today to build this muscle and become the conscious architect of your own reality. So, let's first paint the picture of life without agency. It's a place I know well. It feels like you're trapped on autopilot. You're doing what's expected, following the path laid out for you, but inside there's a quiet, or maybe not so quiet, sense of dissatisfaction. You might complain about your circumstances, blame your boss, the economy, your upbringing, or just bad luck. You feel powerless because you perceive that the controls are somewhere outside of you. Decisions are made for you. Opportunities happen to others. Your dreams remain abstract wishes because you don't see how you could possibly make them real. It's like being a character in a story someone else is writing. This state of low agency isn't just uncomfortable, it's debilitating. It leads to stagnation, resentment, missed opportunities, and a persistent feeling that your true potential is locked away behind a door you don't have the key to. But here's the profound truth: you already possess that key. You have the inherent capacity for agency, and unlocking it transforms everything. Agency is the shift from being a passenger to being the driver. It's the realization that even when external circumstances are challenging, you always retain the power of choice in your response and your actions. This is why agency is so incredibly powerful. First, agency gives you direction. Instead of drifting, you choose your destination. You define what success, happiness, and fulfillment mean to you, and you orient your efforts towards that. Second, agency is the catalyst for action and results. Thinking and wishing are passive. Agency is active. It compels you to do things, to experiment, to build. Action is the engine of progress, and agency is the spark plug. The results you want in life come from the actions you take. Third, agency empowers you with responsibility. Again, this might sound counterintuitive, but taking responsibility isn't a burden. It's a massive source of power. When you own your situation and your outcomes, you simultaneously own your ability to change them. It's the ultimate declaration. The buck stops with me, and therefore, the power to change starts with me. This is the core of accountability that people like Naval emphasize. Fourth, and perhaps most importantly, agency is the path to freedom. Not just external freedom from constraints, but internal freedom. The freedom to choose your perspective, your attitude, and your path regardless of external pressures. It liberates you from needing permission and anchors you in your own capacity. I can tell you from personal experience, this isn't just theory. This is how you fundamentally change your life. I remember being in a data analyst job. It was stable, it was expected, and it was soul-crushingly boring for me. I felt that familiar lack of agency, like this was just the track I was on. But there came a point where I recognized my choice. I realized staying and complaining was my choice, and leaving and trying something else was also my choice. That moment of reclaiming agency led to a pretty drastic action. I quit that job in just 15 days. No long notice period, just a decision and action. It wasn't about having everything figured out. It was about taking control of that specific situation. Then came the next step in exercising agency. I consciously chose to learn new skills. I dove into marketing and sales, seeing how those skill sets could be directly applied to creating value and building things. It was a deliberate pivot, not a drift. That combination, taking radical action to leave a path that wasn't mine and proactively building valuable skills, directly fueled my entrepreneurial journey. I went on to start 5 different startups. Each one was an act of agency, deciding to create something from nothing, taking responsibility for its success or failure, constantly learning and adapting. And out of those 5, I was able to build and successfully sell 3 of them for thousands of dollars. Looking back, none of that leaving that job, learning new skills, starting and selling businesses, absolutely none of that would have been possible without agency. It wasn't luck. It was a series of conscious choices and deliberate actions. So, how do you start exercising your agency? How do you build this muscle so you can start writing your own story? It starts with conscious practice. Here are the key steps. Step 1. Consciously identify your choices. This is foundational. When you feel stuck or powerless in a situation, pause. Look for the options. Often, the most impactful choices aren't about changing the external situation, but about choosing your response, your attitude, or the next small action you can take. The key is to actively look for the choices you have, especially the uncomfortable ones. Step 2. Embrace radical responsibility. Again, this isn't blame, it's empowerment. For any outcome you're experiencing, own your part in it. Say, okay, this is where I am. How did I get here? What decisions did I make or not make? And now, what choice can I make? What action can I take to influence where I go from here? Responsibility is the lever of change. Step 3. Cultivate a bias for action. Thinking is necessary, but agency is expressed through doing. Don't wait for perfect clarity or certainty. Identify the very next, smallest possible action you can take towards your goal or desired outcome and take it. Action breaks inertia, provides feedback, and builds momentum. As Naval puts it, impatience with actions, patience with results. Just start. Step 4. Clarify your values and vision. Agency is most powerful when it's directed towards something meaningful to you. What are your core values? What kind of life, career, or impact do you genuinely want? Spend time defining your personal compass. This clarity makes exercising agency easier because you can evaluate choices based on whether they align with your true north. Step 5. Commit to continuous learning and adaptation. The world changes, circumstances shift. Maintaining agency requires you to stay curious, constantly learn new skills, gather new information, and be willing to adapt your plan and your actions based on what you learn. Your past choices got you here. Continuous learning informs your future, more effective choices. Now let's address the nuance. Does agency mean you have absolute control over everything? Of course not. Genuine external obstacles, systemic issues, and random events are real. But agency is about recognizing what you can control within those realities. It's about choosing your response to the uncontrollable. It's about finding the pockets of influence you do have and expanding them through deliberate action and skill building. It doesn't remove challenges, it gives you the power to navigate them. Exercising agency is a practice. Some days it will feel natural. Other days it will require conscious effort to fight against inertia or fear. But every time you make a conscious choice, every time you take a deliberate action aligned with your vision, you strengthen that muscle. My own journey from a boring data job to building and selling businesses was a direct result of choosing agency over apathy. It was scary, uncertain, and required massive action and learning. But the alternative, staying stuck and wishing things were different, was far scarier. You have this power within you right now. You are not a pawn. You are the player. Your life is not a pre-written script. You hold the pen. Start small. Identify one tiny area where you feel powerless today. Find one small choice you do have and take one small action based on that choice. That's the beginning of building your incredible agency. That's the start of designing the life you truly want. You have more control than you think. It's time to use it. If this resonated with you, please hit the like button and subscribe for more videos on building a life of freedom, wealth, and purpose. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Where are you ready to exercise more agency in your life? Share your thoughts below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.